You're listening to 101 with Tommie Zam. On the 16th episode, we sit down with Jeremy Wray talking about skateboarding and life. Let's do this. What's up, Jeremy?
Made it on.
Made it on, dude. Sorry, I was a little late. I just had to go hit the porta potty real quick. Me and Elle were up at a park just watching the sunset right now.
Nice. All right. Yeah. I guess through the thing, I had to download the app to make it happen.
Oh, word. All right. Cool.
So now I have a official podcast app myself.
Oh yeah, with Anchor, right?
Yeah, with Anchor. So now I'm officially on Anchor as Jeremy.
So now you can be like everybody else with the podcast.
Well, yeah, you made it happen. You introduced me to the podcast world, and here I am. So this is my little toe in the water.
There we go, brother. Welcome to the podcast world.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, you ready to get started, man?
Yeah, let's kick it off.
All right, buddy. Well, I know half of the world knows who you are, but there might be some that might not who you are. But tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Jeremy Wray. I've been skateboarding for a long time, a lot longer than some of you have been alive. I guess I'm going on 37 years of skating now, something like that.
Wow, congratulations, dude.
Yeah, it's still going.
Are you up there with Cab or what?
I'm hot on their heels. I know that.
He's been 40, 50 years or something like that.
Yeah, because actually Cab started really young.
Yeah, how old were you when you started?
I started when I was 8 years old. So
okay.
Yeah, I call it started as that's when I got my own actual skateboard. I mean, we had seen skateboards and ridden them before that, and even played around or shared with my older brother's boards. But skateboarding didn't officially start until I got my own.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember what board you had?
My first one was a Voltura shattered model.
Oh shit!
It was something. It was like one of the toy store boards that Voltura would put out. They were full completes and they looked cool, but yeah, by today's standards, it's like kind of a toy store board.
So that's when you first. So do you remember when you first actually saw your first skateboard, other than your toy store board?
Yeah, I mean, because the first one I got for my birthday, my 8th birthday, when we were living in California, and the first ones we rode, I think, were in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I think someone had one of those little plastic banana board kind.
Yeah.
Ride it around in the street and take turns on that. And those were fun to ride as a kid. You're just learning how to roll and balance. So that's enough when you're at that age. Just want to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the banana boards are kind of back now. I mean, I see people riding those things. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, and so you mostly grew up in California or Florida? You said you were in Florida. So were you mostly grew up in California and Florida, or just only California?
Well, my brother Jonas and I were born in California, but up in Carmel, Fort Ord.
Okay.
So yeah, our dad was in the military, in the Army. So he was getting stationed all over. So every 2 years we'd move. So my older brother Jazz was born in North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. And then, so after we were born in California, we stayed there for a little bit and then moved to Indianapolis for a couple of years and then moved to North Carolina, then Florida, and then back to California after that.
Do you remember Florida at all?
Yeah. Florida was, I think first and second grade for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I remember Florida. We used to go to the beach a lot and go boogie boarding. And if you get there early in the morning, you could find shark's teeth on the beach.
Oh shit! What part of Florida was this?
I guess it was near Jacksonville, Florida. We lived in Orange Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was that's in the middle of Florida, kind of,
Right. So we would drive to the East Coast to get some boogie boarding in. They had really mellow, long beaches. You could walk out on sandbars and be super far out in the ocean, but you're only knee deep.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. So you started up. So basically, you kind of started into that kind of into boogie boarding and skateboarding mostly in Florida, right?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely rode skateboards in Florida, but we didn't have our own. I think it was just the neighbors, had one that they would bring out, and we'd all just kind of push around on it and just cruise down the street.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome to think. And then when you got to California, that's when you officially like picked up your first skateboard magazine, got more into it and stuff.
Yeah, there were some kids that skated in the neighborhood, and some of the kids that were older than us in school that skated. And this was like right around when the launch ramp days were starting and stuff like that too. So when you get introduced to all that, it's a whole different world. And yeah, you just figure out that you want to be a part of it. So you just start hanging out with people that are doing it and learn the ropes.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely learned the ropes, man. I mean, you got some mad pop. Is that where you mostly got your pop from? Is like from doing launch ramps and stuff, or just basically learning, growing up and watching other people, you know?
Well, the first time we had heard about an ollie was our brother Jazz was out in front of our house and he saw someone skating down the sidewalk.
Uh-huh.
And in our house, it had like the bigger driveway bumps, so it was almost like a mini cement launch ramp anyway. So Jazz saw this guy riding down the sidewalk, and he said that he got to the top of the curb and he hit his tail and jumped in the air, and his board went up with him. And he showed us he got about this high, and then he landed, and he didn't touch his board at all. It was all no grab, and rode away. And me and Jonas both called bullshit. Like, no way. Like, because Jazz used to lie to us a lot as kids, and just try to get us to believe different things. And like we thought for sure he made this one up. And then, sure enough, we were down at like the Eagle Rock Plaza,
Uh-huh.
and this like Hessian looking skater dude with his shirt tucked into his shorts and long hair, and he saw us skating through the parking lot, and he was like, "Hey, you guys know what an ollie is?" And we're like, "What? An alley? What's that?" Like, look, like this. And he did one on flat ground, and me and Jonas both looked at each other like, "Oh, that's what Jazz was talking about. It's a real thing." So from that day on, we tried to learn them. And yeah, we went home, tried to like ollie over like little cracks in the sidewalk or like a rolled up newspaper, and just try to figure out how to get that board off the ground, and eventually move on to curbs and stuff like that. Try to ollie up a curb.
Yeah.
Yeah, just way through.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because I remember when I learned how to ollie, we used to like, put how many boards we could stack up and ollie over, or I'll do like, we have put like boards like plywoods next to each other, and then spread it apart as far, see how far we can ollie too,
Yeah. Well, yeah, clearing a board on its side was a huge hurdle, and like if you could learn that and figure that out and get good at it, then it wasn't too long until you could do two.
Yeah.
Just the timing of getting up and over something, and keeping your balance to right away. Then after that, getting a little higher isn't too bad. And when you put that second one on, if you like link the boards right, it's really like only half a board more, because like the way it sits between the trucks.
Uh-huh.
So you link them in with the wheels, and then it's not that bad.
Dude, hey, you're giving everybody some trick tips right there, man.
Well, when you stack up the boards, you stack one way, one the opposite way, and then the third one goes on the opposite way again, So you link them in like little Lincoln logs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, just growing up and learning how to skate. I think that was like, to me, it was like the funnest thing is learning tricks and learning how to better yourself in like doing ollies or front 180s or power slides or whatever, and it was just fun,
Absolutely. You'd learn new stuff every day. If you saw someone do something that you'd never seen before, you're like, I got to learn that. And you just work on it until you get it. And then this was even still before like skate videos were coming around. But as soon as we saw our first skate video, I mean, that's full of tricks you've never seen or heard of. Like, you don't even know the names of most of the tricks you're trying to learn at first. So yeah, it's fun figuring it out.
Do you remember your first skate video you watched?
Yeah, it was up at Billy's General Store. That was the skate shop in Montrose. And they put on the Future Primitive for us. But I think it actually started with the Bones Brigade video show. So we had seen that one first. And then Future Primitive had come out. But when they showed it to us, they showed us Bones Brigade video show first. And it was on VHS in the shop. Someone just asked the owner, hey, can we put on a skate video? And they'd wheel it out on this little cart and had a TV and a VHS player and just pop it in. So it was cool. We didn't even know that existed until like the older kids asked for it. and we got to sit down on the ground on your board and just watch the video.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. And do you feel like that's what got you more into skateboarding, by watching like old pal videos and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, you see what they're doing, and obviously it's set to music, all edited, cool, and like it just looks like so much fun. And then you can think of things that you know of that are around your neighborhood that kind of look like that, and you try to emulate what they were doing and just figure it out from there. And yeah, you're definitely just playing catch up the whole, like, first 5 years. You're just watching what other people are doing and trying to copy it as best you can. You're not breaking any new ground. You're just trying to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. And did you do anything else other than skateboarding? Did your parents like, hey, you know what? Let's try football, or let's try soccer.
Yeah.
Let's get you away from skateboarding or something.
Well, in Florida, before we were really skateboarding, I had 2 years of just playing the soccer in the leagues and stuff like that. And I liked soccer. I was just a little kid that could run really fast and was good with my feet. So I was a natural for soccer. But yeah, skateboarding definitely did me better than soccer would have. Because when we moved to California, we ended up playing like maybe 2 or 3 years of like the little league baseball.
Uh-huh.
So, but I was still pretty small compared to the other kids on the team. And I didn't have a lot of strength with the bat yet, but I could run. So once I was on base, I was good to go. So I like business. But yeah, most of the time when I was up at the batter's box, you'd be there ready to swing. I'm a little dude, so I'm crunched down. I got a tiny strike zone, and the pitchers were just learning how to throw curveballs. So they'd throw like a wild curve, a late breaking curve, and it goes right to your ribs. So I was always getting lit up on my ribs, getting hit by the ball, and then get the free pass to go to first base.
Oh yeah, dude.
Once I was on, it was good though.
So you were basically the base dummy, right? Kind of.
Yeah. Oh, if someone got hurt and they needed to switch someone out for the bases, they'd throw me in there to run them for sure.
How many bases you stole?
I don't know. I never kept track of anything. And I was usually missing practice because I never knew what day of the week it was. And I was always on my own accord to get up there. So I'd have to skate from my house up to the local park where the baseball field was, and like the baseball diamond, and go just get myself to practice and back.
Yeah. So, and when did you decide to get away from baseball and focus on skateboarding?
In elementary school, pretty much when I got my skateboard and got hooked on it. That was the last season of baseball and anything like that, because they would ask us if we wanted to sign up after that. And it's like, no, I'm good on my skateboard, and everything's fine. So yeah, but it was funny. We were doing the baseball stuff. I was batting .550 because I kept getting hit by the ball.
I'm trying to picture all of this when you tell me this story. You playing baseball, I'm trying to picture this.
It's funny. I was like probably the second smallest kid on the team. So
damn. And then then Jonas picked up skateboarding right after you, or a little before, or what?
Our older brother Jazz had a board first, and I'll borrow his or like take turns on his, because we where we lived in Glendale, there were a lot of hills to ride down.
Mm-hmm.
Like butt board, you sit down on the board, hold on to both rails, and you just ride down the hill. And we were actually just all three of us go up to the top of the hill and take turns riding down. And the longer ride you take, then you got to walk it back up, and the other two are waiting to take their turn. And then that got old real fast. Like everyone needs a board of their own. So Jonas was able to like save up money or get money somehow, and he got his first board right before my birthday. So he got his, and I waited for my birthday to get mine.
Oh, so he got his before you. Oh, shit.
Yeah. What was it? He got the bonsai board.
No way.
Equivalent to the Voltura. He got the bonsai one.
Uh-huh.
It had like a rising sun kind of graphic. And
yeah,
all these completes had like the full rails, nose guard, and the skid plate on them.
Uh-huh.
And the pre-cut grip tape.
Yep.
Taped like the board.
Yep.
So
I even remember those.
One of those Voltura shattered just the decks on eBay a long time ago. I think I got it for like $9. No one really cares about these because they're not like collector's ones, but I found the exact model that I had. So I was able and I had it here, just kicking it in the closet, just stoked to have it and look at it again. But then I realized I wanted to set it up and skate it. So when I was doing my kickflip a day in 2016, I ended up setting it up and skating it. So I put some cruiser wheels on it and some wider trucks. And it was rad to be able to do a kickflip on that board, because back when I was skating it originally, I didn't even know what a kickflip was,
Is that board's where you learn how to ollie, right?
Yeah, that's the board I learned to ollie on, but I had no idea what a kickflip was. That was still not around yet until a
Dude,
little later.
how amazing is that, dude? You found a board, you found the exact same board that you grew up with, you know, or you that got you into skateboarding, you know, and
Yeah, it was a blank. It was the same model, so it was, like, hadn't been set up yet. I was able to put the grip on it myself. I did like one of the old school like torn up grip jobs, you know, made it look period correct, you know. It was fun to skate it though.
dude, that's awesome, man. And then, you know, so that's all, you know, came along. Baseball, you got in baseball. That's when then you about 8 years old you start skateboarding, and then when did you start wanting to be not learn, but when did you start wanting to like take it further, like to more sponsors, and what got you more into like what actually was basically saying what got you more leading to being a sponsor skater?
I don't know. That wasn't until a lot later. I think all the early stuff was just doing it for fun, you know. And it was me, Jazz, and Jonas all skating for fun. But our older brother Jazz wasn't as interested in learning tricks. He used it more for transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd like, you know, bomb the hills from school or skate down to the Glendale Galleria, which was miles away from our house. And it was always just skating. And he learned enough to where, like, if you need to get off the curb when you're going fast down a hill and there's that little gutter that you have to clear,
Uh-huh.
you got to go fast enough to pop up and clear that. So even without hauling, you can just lift up and get lightweight and bounce off the lip of the curb and clear the gutter. So he got good enough to do that. And, you know, he was always good at bombing hills and going fast. I think he got the worst road rash out of all of us.
Oh shit.
From like butt boarding and getting speed wobbles on really
Oh.
rough streets. And he came home like everything from like all the way down to his ankle, all the way up past his hip, all the way up his arm. It looked like he got in a motorcycle crash. He was just one big scab on the left side of his body.
Oh shit, dude. That's yeah.
He was bumping, like sticking to the sheets and all that, you know?
Damn, I remember those road rashes, dude. Bombing hills, man.
Yeah, good one.
And then that's so that was your brother, then your older brother. Then what about you and Jonas? When did you guys started like? Because you guys did it for fun, and then like
Yeah, because Jazz was 3 years older than me, and Jonas is 1 year younger. So we had like, you know, even those 3 more years before cars came around and stuff like that to just play around and get to know it, and then, you know, meet other people that skated. And we started going even like to the parks and stuff. We learned about pipeline, got our Upland pipeline membership, and would have one of the parents take us down there, just drop us off for the whole day and just watch people skate in these bowls and learn how to go out of the launch bowl. We like that little like kiddie bowl. We used it as a launch bowl.
mm-hmm.
Try to do tricks out of that, and then you skate the ditch. So we got introduced to all that. And skating the full pipe was always fun. Like the full pipe was a challenge. As a little dude, you can get pretty high, but you don't know what you're doing yet. So you get looped out real quick. But yeah, the full pipe was fun.
Hell yeah! And then so you did all that, you know, doing it for fun and stuff. And then when did someone come up to you and say, "Hey, you're killing it. We want to sponsor you, or we want to hook you up with a shop or whatever," you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when we were I was in middle school at least. The local skate shop was called Slams. It was like a skate and surf shop up there in I don't even know, like we were near Calabasas, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was the local shop, and they held like a team tryout. So we went and skated for this team tryout, and it was up at the Knapp Park. There was a ditch up at Knapp Park. So they held the tryouts there. There was like a ditch and a hip to skate. So we skated that. And of course we were tiny. Just, you know, I think I had just learned how to do stalefish grabs over the hip. So we were doing our whatever we had learned so far. And I was able to make the team. I think me and Jonas both made the slam skate team. So they gave us a shirt for being on the team, and we would wear it when we went to the contest, like the local contests and stuff. And that was our first sponsor of any kind. But then we only lived in that area for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That we moved to La Habra. So the local skate shop out here was Hot Skates. That was the closest thing to where we lived. So we ended up getting sponsored by Hot Skates too. And then they were able to take us to the bigger contests. Like we went to Powell Skate Zone for an AM contest with them, and got introduced to more of that kind of skating and just being around people that are trying to compete. But yeah, it was all just fun and games until then. Then they're just trying to, yeah, I guess just make our own little videos, send them out to companies, stuff like that. And I guess we had our kind of a breakthrough when we went to skate camp, because then you're kind of stuck in there with everybody. And they do have little contests on the street course or on the vert ramp. And you can enter whatever contest you feel like. So when me and Jonas entered the contest there, I think he got first in street and I got second, because he had a flawless run where he made every single trick.
What?
I think I missed like one of the things, like I popped a kickflip too high or something and kicked out. I bailed one trick. I don't remember what it was. So he got first and I got second. But
Damn.
stand out to like the all the sponsors that might be there, like for all the sponsored skaters, or any TMs or anything like that. So they took notice, and that's when we started getting a little hooked up.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to think, because back then, skateboarding was way different than it is now, because you had to like try out for things, you know what I mean? To ride for a company, you had to enter contests or ride for a shop for a long time or whatever, where nowadays it's less social media. You got a sick part, you just put on social media,
Right.
Yeah,
whole different world now, but also there's a lot of people that are really good now. Whereas back then it was only if you kind of knew what was going on and put in the time to learn it. It was less people knew what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
People had access to magazines and videos and, skate scenes and all that. But now it's everywhere. It's everywhere you want it to be.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I mean, sometimes I wish, I was like, damn, I wish that social media was like around when I was living in PB, man.
Yeah. No, it'd be rare to see another skateboarder, like even at school or like skating down the street. And we were our own little small community. So yeah, it used to be, it's just super rare. But yeah, because it died out for a while in those 80s where people just stopped doing it altogether. But yeah, we were able to push through. At least me and Jonas, we always had someone to skate with. So we just kept doing our thing. We built a mini ramp in the backyard and kept a little small scene alive, So
is that when you met Carl or what?
Yeah, Carl would have been around that time. Yeah, because I don't think we knew him before we moved to La Habra. I think it was when we started doing the castle contests and stuff. Yeah, around that time, that's when we crossed Carl's path.
And what was it like skating the castle contest? Tell me a little bit about that.
I never really liked them because they made you wear your pads. Nothing that I hated more than skating in pads, because it made you feel so stiff. Like you couldn't move your legs or arms right. And then you got a helmet on that's making your head like balance different, and it's getting so sweaty in there. I don't know. Just everything about wearing pads was the opposite of what I wanted to do with my skateboarding.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do pads, man. Like I think on my first contest I ever skated my whole life, and we had to wear pads, and it was like the most uncomfortable thing, Yeah,
if you're used to wearing pads every time you skate, then it's fine. But I never wore them until I had to go to skate the contest. And then you're trying to skate the same with the pads on, and it just doesn't feel the same at all. I'd feel like the Tin Man, like, everything was so stiff because you couldn't bend your elbows even the same way. Like they were just stuck.
Yeah.
Stuck.
No, it's the worst feeling, dude. But it's out there for these kids that want to be safe,
Yeah, no, I understand the reason for it. I just never liked it,
No, it wasn't my thing either. And then like growing going being in high school, being a skater, did people accept you as a skater, or was it like kind of like, oh, he's a skateboarder, man, he's a punk or whatever,
Well, when we moved to La Habra, it was school had already started on my freshman year, so we didn't move there till the Christmas break of like 89 or 90. I guess it would have been 89. Right around that Christmas break when 89 turned to 90. That's when we moved to La Habra. So I was a new kid at school my freshman year after everyone had already started together. So I was already the odd man out from the get-go. So, yeah, and then there weren't that many people that skated. At first, I didn't find anybody. And anytime I saw someone with a skate shirt on, I'd ask them, like, do you skate? They're like, I used to, but everyone had given it up, but they still had their leftover skate shirts, But, yeah, we ran into our buddy Duke Matsuyama. He was the first other skater we met at the school. I think he was maybe 1 grade older than me. And then he had a buddy, his friend Tosh, that he skated with. So it was Duke and Tosh and me and Jonas. We would all get to skate together at first. And a little bit after that, Jonas met Paul Luna. And I guess Paul used to skate, but didn't have a board anymore. So Jonas hooked him up with an old complete just so he could roll with us. And then Luna was in from there on out.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So that's where you met Paul Luna, huh?
Yeah, Jonas found him and found out that he used to skate and said, "Oh, come skate with us," and gave him a board. Like, let's do this. And he was down.
Dude, that's sick, dude. That's I didn't even know that. That's pretty awesome. Yep. And then, do you remember, like, so you skated all these contests and stuff, and you said that's when sponsors and TM started to notice you. Do you remember what company came up or what TM came up to you during those contests and said, "Hey, I like how you skate. You're killing it. You got second place. You're like your personality." Do you remember what company that was or TM?
Yeah, one of the early contests. I think it was just like some kind of street jam. They brought some quarter pipes and launch ramps and other stuff out. I don't even know if it was when we were in Glendale or Calabasas. I think it was when we were still in Calabasas. It was one of the early contests, and I ended up getting first in that one. And I think Jonas might have been in a different division or something. But I remember we got first and second, I think, or something like that. And there was a TM or someone affiliated with Alva. It was a guy named Tonan that was working with or rode for Alva. And he said to call him up, like, "You guys are sick. We want you to ride for Alva." I was like, "Oh, that'd be awesome." But I think right around that time, maybe Alva was going through some changes too. So they weren't really building at that time, So I think it was the late 80s where everything was starting to taper off for all the 80s companies.
Mm-hmm.
So that never came to be. I think we just lost connection with that and kind of let it go. So
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been rad for early on. And I guess around that time was when Ronnie Bertino was riding for Alva, because he was in an Alva ad back around those years. So that would have been cool to link up with him back then. But when we got on the Hot Skates team, Ronnie Bertino rode for Hot Skates. So when we went to those early contests with them, we were riding in the van with him. So, yeah, I guess me and him go pretty far back.
Yeah, because you guys been on companies together for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, well, when we got introduced to Plan B, that was together. We had an ad introducing both of us on the same little commercial for 411. And it was like, a couple tricks of me and a couple tricks of Ronnie. So that was rad to be able to link back up with him, later on in those years. That would have been early 90s,
Yeah, I remember that ad. Actually, that was a badass ad.
Yeah, those fun ones, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one, dude. And then, so how did you come along with like Prime and Color and all that? How did you come in with that?
Well, the first stuff that we actually got sponsored was through Skate Camp. After Jonas won that street contest, Shrugi was there and saw him. Shrugi was the team manager for Thunder and Spitfire. So he said he would hook up Jonas, just flow, like, "I'll give you some stuff. Here's my info and just give me a call and we'll send you a box." And then I ended up talking to him too. And they're like, "Well, send us a video." They wanted to see like a sponsor me tape. So we got one together when we got home from Skate Camp, when we sent it up. And they let us both just get some boxes. So I think at that point they were sending us one box just to the Ray brothers, and we'd have to split up the stuff, a couple sets of wheels and a couple shirts, stuff like that. So we were just sharing the first flow boxes.
Did y'all have flip quarters for like who want what? Like, "Oh, I want that wheel. No, I want that wheel."
A lot of questions came up like, how did you guys split a box? The way it went when it came down to the clothing and stuff, it was like, okay, we'd go 1 for 1, almost like a draft pick. Like, you get one, I get one, you get one, I get one. And like, if it lines up and he got the jacket and I got the t-shirt, like, you just go back and forth 1 for 1. But it was always pretty even,
Was there some times where you're jealous, like, "Damn, I want that shirt," or, "Hey, I'm older than you, Jonas, let me get that one,"
No, we just always did it down the middle, go for it, and it was 1 for 1,
Dude,
and if
that's awesome.
One of us got it, the other one got the shirt.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they sent cool stuff in the boxes. You were stoked with anything they were sending, so it was just fun to get stuff in the mail for the first time,
I mean, you guys were like, it was like Christmas time for you guys. You're like, oh shit, we got a box. What's up?
Yeah, no, it was always cool to get the free stuff and then, immediately set it up, try it out, and you're good to go. And
Yeah.
yeah, it lasts you a while when you're a kid, but when you really start skating and filming, you start going through stuff pretty fast too.
Yeah. And then so that was all. So y'all got hooked up with the
But then
Spitfire and Thunder, right?
For board sponsors and stuff, we ended up sending that same sponsor me tape that I made for Thunder and Spitfire. I made another copy and sent it down to Dave Berthold over at Blockhead Skateboards because his brother Kevin was working at skate camp, and he told us, yeah, just send him a tape. And so we got the address to send it to, or we handed it off to somebody. Somehow it made it into his hands. So Dave Berthold got to see the sponsor me tape. He showed it to Laban, who was the top pro on their team at the time. And Laban gave it the thumbs up, like, yep, let's call this dude up. So we were able to link up with them. And at the time I got on, they were filming for their next video, and they were about 2 weeks or so from finishing it. So I got to go skate with them and get a part in real quick. And we filmed a lot of stuff in those 2 weeks. So that ended up being my part in the recycled rubbish video.
Yes, that was a dope ass video, dude. I think that video like introduced me. I mean, I grew up like, the kid I grew up with, Arthur Adams, he was vert skater. So he would like, my first skate video was POW videos, like just like, like you.
Yeah.
And then eventually became GNS. And then, but I think the one that mostly got me more and more into skateboarding was like the Blockhead videos, man, because they were fucking amazing, dude.
Well, the Blockhead video, Adventures in Cheese, was like just a black and white funny video. They had all kinds of like weird little clips they were pulling off old movies and TV shows, and just the music and the way everything was edited. It just looked like everyone was having fun. So it just seemed like a cool group of people to get in with and go skate with. And it really was. When we got on and skated with those guys, everyone from the team would all link up. We'd all skate together and film together, hang out together. And that was a really solid team,
Yeah. And that was when, and so that was your first like actual going out and filming like 2 weeks of footage with a bunch of skaters you just met, or half of you met, or whatever, how was that?
It was cool. Like we were going to their spots, and then they came up to check out some of our spots, and just sharing all of our stuff, yeah, let's go skate and let's get what we can. And we were getting stuff everywhere we went. Like just, I guess since you have been skating for so many years and you haven't really filmed video parts, you have a lot to offer right off the bat that no one's seen. So, and then you're checking out new spots, so it's making you try new stuff too. So, and I don't know, you just do a lot.
Were you nervous?
No, it was more just excited to get out and get some stuff, and then you get to see what the footage looks like, and it looks so much better on like a good camera with a fisheye rather than whatever we were filming with. So that is more rewarding just to see it come back and look better than you even thought it did,
Yeah.
Whereas we were used to like trying something thinking it was good, and you look at the footage like, oh man, that looks pretty bad, You're
not like, hey, let me redo that again. Hold on, let me do that again,
Yeah.
That's sick, dude. Like because I remember that video. That video was like amazing video, dude. That was the one with what's his name? Rick I can't pronounce his last name. Jamarlo?
Caramello.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was one of our homies. We'd skate with him a lot. Yeah,
dude, I love this part.
And he would come out and stay with Berthold. So we'd skate street with him. He was more tech than most of us. He was doing all kinds of switch stuff and the harder flip tricks and stuff, skating to hip hop music. Like he was kind of keyed into what was going on around the time, more so than we were,
Yeah, I used to copy his style, dude. I used to wear his like white tees and khakis and those brown like I think it was Airwalks he was riding. I can't remember, but they were like the solid brown shoes.
Yeah, it could have been. We were all skating Airwalks back then.
Yeah, I used to copy his style, man. I loved it.
Yeah, we were all skating Airwalks. I think I liked the gym shoes back then when they came out.
Which ones were those?
They were the ones that were really clean looking. They almost looked like an Adidas Stan Smith, but they wore out really fast. They were the ones like Jason Lee used to rock the gym shoe a lot.
Yes, I remember, because the ones I loved the most were the ones that were all brown with the brown gum, the
Right. Those
tan
are like
gum.
Airwalk Saris. The Saris
Yeah,
good, and then there was also the Airwalk ones before that. So Blockhead days, I was pretty much rocking Airwalk ones. I think
yeah,
they were the ones that had like a big stripe going down where the laces go.
yeah, yeah, dude. Airwalks are pretty. I'll admit it. Airwalks are pretty badass back then, dude.
Well, they were comfortable and they skated good, and they were based out of San Diego. So, someone knew someone who could get us some shoes. So we started getting shoes for free to skate in, and then before you know it, we're shooting for ads. And I got an Airwalk ad, and yeah, but I guess around that time they started kind of branching out of skateboarding and making like shoes for the mainstream. So they kind of changed what they were doing over those next like 5 years.
Yeah.
So, but that was a good introduction to skate shoes. I mean, they were good.
Yeah, they definitely were, man. They were my favorite. The Saris were my favorite ones, dude. Like, I loved those. I would buy like so many pairs of those, dude, just to have them.
Yeah,
they were the best ones.
Yeah,
but it was crazy to think. I was listening to you talk, and it was just crazy to think because coming from when you were 8 years old,
mm-hmm.
and starting getting your first board and riding and getting into it, and then now you're riding to companies and getting your first ad and filming with your first real team. Like, that's fucking awesome, dude. Just to think that,
What all that stuff, like, I didn't get sponsored, I don't think, until I was about 17.
Uh-huh.
So I'd been skating for almost 10 years without being sponsored or trying to be sponsored or even filming for videos or anything. So it was just 10 years of playing around on my skateboard until someone said, hey, like, I think you can do this, and why don't you come film and shoot ads and stuff. And with that kind of a deeper background in skating, I wasn't just learning stuff. I had already kind of got the balance down and understood how that board's going to move. So when it came time to actually get to work on it, it was a little bit easier. I had a good foundation to build off of.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome, dude. Just to think that, you know what I mean? Like, you're just an average kid. Just, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna cruise around and have a good time with my homies and brothers and just chill. And then all of a sudden, the door opens to you, and you're like, whoa, this is awesome.
Well, as someone says, okay, we need something for an ad. You think of what you got and what you can do, and you want to do the best thing you can. So you push yourself a little further, try to get something bigger and better than you've done before, just so your ad is good. Mm-hmm. It kind of like leads you in that direction, because you don't want to have something in there that everyone's like, oh, what's that? Like, anyone, you want to have something good.
Yeah.
So just do either something that hasn't been done or something that's a little bit bigger than anything else. And one or the other, you just got to have something new.
No, that's awesome to think. And then, so how long were you on for Blockhead?
I think for about 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
Because it was right around that time we'd been filming for the Recycled Rubbish. That one came out. And then pretty much right after that, we started filming for the next video. And I had more time to film for the next one. That one ended up being Debbie Does Blockhead.
Oh, that was a dope one.
And in that one, since we had all that time to film, I ended up with the last part in that video. So we got a lot of footage. And, it was around that time, like, I'm still living at home and I don't have a job or any other responsibilities. All I have to do is skate. And it's just really easy to skate every day. You just get out of school and go skate. So on the weekends, we'd take the Amtrak down to San Diego, and Dave Bergthold would pick us up. And we stay at his house and just film all weekend. Just go skate spots all around San Diego. And then at the end of that, we'd take the Amtrak back up, go back home, and go back to do that week of school again. So, yeah.
You're living the skater's life. Skater's dream, basically,
Yeah, we didn't have anything. We didn't have any money. We didn't have cars. We didn't have nothing. Just a skateboard and a
Amtrak.
And someone who's able to hook up our Amtrak. I think our mom would buy us the Amtrak tickets to go down there. So I don't think anyone else was hooking us up, and we didn't have any money. So, yeah, she must have been buying the tickets for us round trip for us to go there and back.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, dude. I mean, that's awesome to have your mom or your parents backing you up for what you love to do.
Yeah.
Because
they drive us down to Mike McGill's skate park too, and just drop us off for the day. They'd go do something else, and we'd just skate the skate park all day. So that's, we'd skate mostly like the mini ramp spine and stuff like that. There was also like the cement bowls that were like fishing ponds that you could launch out over a wall. So we'd launch over that thing, and then we would skate the vert ramp, just not as much. If it was like a heated session on the vert ramp, we'd kind of let those guys do their thing. But if it was a little more dead, we would go skate the vert ramp too. And, we knew how to drop in and do the roll in and get some grinds and stuff, but we never learned proper backside airs or anything beyond that.
Yeah. And then what's the most memorable thing you have with Blockhead, like filming wise, going on trips with the crew? Like, what's your most memorable thing you have with those guys?
It was just all the sessions. Yeah. Even Dave's backyard mini ramp, we'd get stuck at the house. He'd go into work and we didn't have a car. So we'd just be stuck skating the mini ramp in the morning. We had a mini ramp bowl. So we'd almost play games of skate before it was a thing on the flat ground of the bowl. And then we'd get warmed up in there. And then at some point, Dave would come back and we'd all hop in the van and go skate something.
Yeah.
There was lots of stuff just in that area to skate. So just skating with all those dudes on the team. He even had like a tiny little mini ramp in his garage that was super fun to learn on. It was like a knee-high mini ramp. And you could do anything on it. And if you fell, you're only falling like knee-high. So you could pretty much try anything you wanted on it. It was rad.
You're loving that part, right? You're like, damn, okay, knee-high. That's good.
Yeah, it was just fun to learn on. Do all kinds of stuff.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. And then when did everything change between Blockhead and to your next sponsor?
I guess Mark Oblo and Chris Markovich were starting a new brand, and they called it Color Skateboards. And they were starting to build the team, and they had a few guys in mind. And when I got the call from Markovich and got to know what they were trying to do, it just sounded rad. And it was going to be a company that would be on par with the caliber of like one of the world companies, like solid team. We're going to film a video. We're going to make the best stuff. And this is how it's going to be. And they just laid it out. I'm like, all right. And we're going to travel and do it all. So, and we did. We made our video, and like the whole thing came out great. And people still remember the video parts from that one. And we did travel to Europe contests that year and got to do like the Munster contest and one in Belgium, I think. There were 3 major contests out there. So we did that whole contest circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Then shortly after that, I guess they had problems with the manufacturing that was going on and disagreements about the quality of stuff that was getting made because it wasn't getting made to the standards that everyone on the team wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of cutting corners in places we thought were really important to make it good. So at some point it ended up just splitting ways, and everyone had to find new sponsors after that.
Yeah. And going back a little bit. So how was it like traveling to Europe? I mean, like it's the same thing again, going from 8 to 17 to your first sponsor with Blockhead. And then now you're traveling to the other side of the world. Like, this is probably like, wow, this is like a dream come true kind of,
Yeah, the Europe trip was crazy because it was me and Mark Oblo and Chris Markovich and Mike Santa Rosa. So, and I think Chris and Mike Santa Rosa were like just a year or 2 older than me. So they hung out together more, which ended up being me and Mark Oblo hanging out more. And then Mark Oblo got hurt. I think at the first contest, he broke a bone in his foot because he was skating the contest course with us and just came down funny on something and broke his foot, and he flew home. So he kind of just gave us like a little bit of money to get by. And Markovich gave me my part, and him and Mike Santa Rosa took their part, and they just split. Like, I didn't see him most of the time except for on the contest course. I was kind of on my own after that. So I ended up linking up with the Toy Machine guys, and Ed Templeton was there with his wife Deanna and their whole team. Like, I think Ethan Fowler maybe rode for them at that point. But I just remember skating with those guys a bunch and going to like even art museums out there with them. It ended up being a good trip because I linked up with those guys, and they kind of took me under their wing since I was flying solo.
Yeah. Dude, that's pretty awesome. I mean, link up with Ed Templeton. How was that, dude?
It was good. We'd already known him and skated with him in Huntington because that was our other place. Like, how we were taking the Amtrak down to San Diego. On other days, we would take the bus down Beach Boulevard because we lived in La Habra, which is straight north of Huntington. So if you take that 29A bus down Beach Boulevard, it drops you off right by Huntington High School. So we would go skate Huntington High, which is, I guess, right where Ed was living nearby. And he would skate that thing all the time. So we started crossing paths with him over there. So we knew him a little bit. But we were still like, the younger kids at that point. He was already an established pro, and we were just, either not sponsored yet or barely sponsored when we started doing those Huntington Beach trips.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. I mean, just to think of going to like Europe, but you're on your own, but then you link up with Ed Templeton and hang out with the Toy Machine crew, and then going to art shows and stuff. Is that where you got introduced to artwork or art shows and being an artist and stuff? Is that where that started you?
No, I was already doing artwork from even before I started skateboarding. I've been doing artwork since I was a little dude. I just always loved drawing and painting and just creating stuff. So yeah, I'd already been to art galleries out here in LA with the family, and been introduced to, that style of art, like gallery art. And yeah, so when we visited some of the best galleries in Europe while we were doing the skate contest, it was rad just to see, that side of Europe and their art scene. So yeah, it was cool. Without linking up with those guys, I wouldn't have gone to the museums. I probably would have just stayed near the skate spots, So it was cool to link up with them and just get to see cooler stuff that I hadn't seen in person before. Like you're seeing stuff you see in art books now in person on the wall in the gallery,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. Definitely awesome, man. And like, so you came back to the States. Things didn't work out with, Color, with their manufacturer, this and that, and this and that. Mm-hmm. And where you went to Element, or was it a company? Did you have a break in between brands or what?
Well, since everyone was looking for sponsors, we were trying to figure out what to do next. Everyone knew that Color had kind of dissipated or broken up. So I had still been riding for Thunder and Spitfire. So Deluxe was in the mix a little bit. And I almost ended up riding for Real Skateboards at that point.
What? That would have been sick, dude. Jeremy Wray on Real? That would have been the illest, dude. Real
possibility for sure. Like Jeff Clint came down to my house and made me a solid offer to ride for Real. But I had already talked to some of the guys at Plan B, and there was a possibility I might be able to ride for Plan B. And I didn't want to ride for one of the world companies, but I didn't consider Plan B to be strictly a world company because they had their own offices down in San Diego. They had their own whole team manager and a whole different team. And even though their stuff was made through World, it was more of a partnership. So I was like, and Plan B made the best skate videos.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have a chance to be part of that team. That's what I would want to do over anything else,
Yeah.
But I definitely loved Real Skateboards. I loved everything Deluxe. I loved Thunder and Spitfire. Had a lot of love for Jim and Tommie. Like Jim Thiebaud was awesome, and Tommie was always good to us. When we went up to see their whole Deluxe operation when we were little guys, we'd go skate in San Francisco. And we got to go through the offices, and they showed us Kevin Ansell was their artist at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing all the art. So I got to see all the graphics that he was making, everything, on his walls from stuff he'd already done, and then stuff on the desk that they were currently working on. Like, it was super inspirational just to see, the face behind the artwork that they were putting out. I don't know, just everything they did was really cool too. But when it came down to, deciding where I wanted to be, I thought Plan B was going to be the company that would be the most stable and be around forever. And it probably would have been if Mike Ternansky hadn't passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace, dude.
He was leading the whole brand.
Mm-hmm.
And without him, it was really hard for anyone else to pick up the pieces and see his whole vision for it. So it was a huge loss when we lost Mike, because there was no one else who could fill that role at all. I mean, he was one of a kind, and he knew what he was up to. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because Plan B is like, I mean, I know Plan B's now, but Plan B in the 90s is like legendary, with you and Pat Chinita, like everybody a part of that. Dude. That's just insane,
Yeah, and right when I got on Plan B, I didn't know that the girl guys had already split.
Mm-hmm.
I got on right when it happened and before the news had really broke. So I was talking to Mike Ternaski about getting on the team, and he told me, well, just so you know, this is what's happening. And all of these guys, he went down the list of guys that were leaving. I was like, what? And then he said, but, Danny and Colin are staying, Duffy's staying, and a couple more people that were going to stay with the brand. I was like, okay. And then we were going to be part of the rebuilding. That's where me and Ronnie Bertino and Pat Chanita all were part of the rebuilding of the brand.
And that's when Alf came on, right?
I don't think he ever rode for Plan B.
Oh, I thought he did. Or was
he
that?
Got board recently, but he was always close to us, But he rode for 8th Street.
That's what it was.
Then he had his own brands after that because he had his brand Natural.
Mm-hmm.
And then when World did their company, after Girl split and they were their own thing, they did Girl and Chocolate. World retaliated with their brand Bitch.
Yeah, I remember that.
Brand? So Alf rode for that brand. And he had a model on that.
Okay. I don't know why I thought he rode for Plan B. I think just because he was on 8th Street and hung out with all you guys all the time, I always thought he was.
He had with Plan B, with his Energizer bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a board on Plan B recently. But, I don't think if he ever rode for Plan B, it wasn't for very long, and he didn't get a model that I know of.
Oh, okay.
He never had a part in the Plan B videos, and he never had a model that I remember.
Yeah,
but
I could be wrong.
Danny, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Danny did it together a lot.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's pretty sick. I mean, just to think that you're about to get on with like Sheffy and Mike Carroll, Rick Howard. And, I mean, you're still part of that legendary team. You know what I mean? You're still part of that legendary Plan B, but you were just like a hair second about to be on the team with like Carroll and those guys.
Yeah. No, I know. And that's the funny part. When I got on Blockhead, it was the same thing. Like Adventures in Cheese was the video I remember. And I remember, Rick Howard's part was one of my favorite parts in there. So when I'm about to get on Blockhead, it was like, oh, cool. I'll get to like skate and film with Rick Howard and stuff like that. And then I get on and they're like, oh, well, Rick just left. He's going to do, I guess from there, he went to Plan B then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he left to go to Plan B, that's when I got on Blockhead.
Damn. You were just a hair inch, man. Just a hair.
Well, I'm that, year or two younger than all those guys. So yeah, I was right behind everybody.
Damn. And if you would have got on Plan B right with them, dude, you would have been on Girl, dude. They would have grabbed you.
Yeah, it's true. Because they did Questionable and then Virtual Reality. And I got on right after that when they started filming for Secondhand Smoke.
Yeah, but your part with Secondhand Smoke was amazing, dude. Like, hands down, like, other than your Blockhead video and color video, like, main thing that sticks in my mind of the color video is the beginning. I mean, your whole part was good, but was it the beginning or the end when you ollie over that huge street gap?
In the color video?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then the beginning of my part.
Yeah. That thing will always, every time I hang out with you, dude, like, that thing comes always in my head, just like, damn, he did that. That's fucking insane.
That was one of the last clips we filmed because we had been filming for the whole video. And right towards the end, I was filming with Mark Oblo at Huntington High. And I was doing a line from like this little bump to grate over the bench. And somewhere in the middle, Oblo hit a rock or a crack or something. And he just fell and the whole camera smashed into pieces.
Oh.
And he used that same camera to film the whole video. So when that camera was smashed, we pretty much didn't have anyone else to film with. And then I ended up down in San Diego. And I think Chris Markovich lived with Ted Newsom at the time. And they were doing their, what was it, free clothing? I think they were doing free clothing. And at that time, I guess Ted Newsom had a camera. So he was down to film. So we ended up getting like the last 3 clips with him. They were like some of the biggest bangers that we got for the whole video. Because it was at the end of filming. We knew that we were almost done. So you're able to try something bigger and harder. And if you get hurt, at least you have a whole video part already together. So it was with him that I was able to get that the kickflip down the Tamarack double set.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's like a 5 flat 7 or 7 flat 8 or something like that. There's a long double set.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a kickflip down that thing. And then the same day we went further up the street and that was the bump to gap. And we got that after it.
Dude, that bump to gap was insane, dude.
The bump to gap, when I went back there recently, they had, because it was a bump on a sidewalk with a dirt gap where they had taken out a piece of the sidewalk where there probably used to be a tree or something. And it was like a little dirt gap. But they filled it in now with cement, but the lines are still there from where it was.
Uh-huh.
And went back there and measured it out, and it ended up being like 19 and a half feet from the bump to the edge of the gap.
Dude.
So, and where you land, so it's pretty much a 20-foot ollie off a tiny little curb cut. It's a mini curb cut.
Yeah. That's the craziest part, dude. If anybody's seen it, I've seen that thing, dude. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's insane.
Well, I remember when I had looked at it, it was Jason Dill who spotted it first, and he was like, "Hey, what about ollieing this thing from the bump?" And I went over and looked at it, and I was like, "No, there's no way. That is not possible." It was further than what was possible on a skateboard at the time. There's no way that was possible.
Uh-huh.
Then I sat down like, "No, that's not happening." He's like, "No, you could do it." And he's like, "Watch, I'll show you." And he started trying it. And he ended up snapping some ollies. And the way Jason would try stuff, he would like baby it, try a little bit more, try a little bit harder, but always kick it out every time, and then like get a little further, and he'd work his way towards what he was going for.
Uh-huh.
Well, after enough tries, he started going fast enough to try to clear it. And at one point, he was able to get himself and his board over the gap. Like his feet cleared the gap, and his board, after he kicked it out, cleared the gap too.
What?
At that point, it's possible, because if you can do that, you can make it.
Yeah.
Then like the next try, he came up a little short and got both of his feet on the edge of the curb, like on the edge of the gap, and like folded his feet, gave him like almost like a primo from the cement. And he was wearing Vans, so like you felt every bit of that. It was like landing primo super hard off a big gap. So folded his feet. He was bummed, like he's done. And he's like, "Well, now that I proved it's possible, you got to do it." So he told me to get up there and do it. I'm like, all right, I'll do it for you. Let's try it. And I just remember at the time, it's a little bit of a downhill to the bump. So you're going down the sidewalk, and not only are you bombing a hill, but you're pushing. So I was pushing as fast as I possibly could while bombing the hill. And it's probably the fastest I'd ever gone on a skateboard before. And then snapping an ollie and trying to ride out of it. So I just remember it was super sketchy going that fast on the tiny little wheels, because we were probably on like 40 millimeter wheels at the time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I was able to get that thing to snap and clear it.
Do you have an idea how fast you were going?
I mean, if you clocked it, it's got to be somewhere between 35 and 40.
Holy
probably
shit!
38 zone. That'd be my best guess.
Damn. And then and back then those wheels
starts getting kind of fast and sketchy. Mm-hmm. It's right around that 35 mark, Yeah. So, and yeah, I'm pushing past that zone, just actually taking hard pushes, trying to get faster, and then just snap it. I wanted to go as fast as possible just to see if I could make it across it and clear it. And that's what it took to make it. So, yeah, it was funny to look at it and know that it was not possible to making it happen,
Yeah.
Only possible if you go faster than your normal speed, Yeah,
that's crazy. And to the listeners, you got to understand, back then the wheels was like what, 39, 40 millimeters, like super.
Yeah, right around then we were riding the Spitfire Lil Smokies. They were 40 millimeter wheels
and going 35 miles, thinking 35 miles per hour. That's pretty gnarly, dude. And with cracks.
Yeah, pushing and pushing and pushing, and then trying to get set up to snap an ollie.
Dude, that's insane, dude. That's incredible, dude. Like that's power. I mean, that's all I can say. That's totally power right there, man.
Well, and the funniest part of that clip is the kids afterwards that showed up. They hadn't seen any of the tries before, so they rolled up right when I made it. So there's a kid walking and a kid on a bike, and they rolled up and just could not believe what they just saw. At the time, like, nobody was ollieing that far. It had never been done before, And like even like ollieing the dirt gap by itself without the bump, just on flat, like that would have been difficult for those days.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been amazing to those little guys. But what they saw, they were like, that just is not possible. And I would have agreed with them because it wasn't possible until it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Did you get put in the World Guinness Book of Records or anything, or what?
No, you have to have that stuff verified, and they have to come out and see it themselves or something like that. But yeah, that would have been a Guinness Book World Record length for sure. Because I'm positive no one had ollied that far on a skateboard before.
No.
You know?
I think you're the only one.
Yeah, still far to this day. Like if you try to ollie anywhere close to 19 feet, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. And then, I mean, your career has gone off so good. You know, I mean, you rode for so many good companies. I mean, you drop some amazing video parts. I mean, you're, things that people are still talking about. You know, I mean, and
that was the best part of all of it, was just having the opportunity to film for videos and just trying to come up with things that were new and different, and just trying to do something that had never been seen before.
Yeah,
and just the tricks further. Because people were just ollieing stuff. We figured out we could pop, flip, and catch some tricks, and you could carry it over bigger gaps. So we started doing more tech stuff down bigger stair sets, like doing flip tricks down the double sets, trying to do switch flip tricks down the double sets, and then taking it onto the triple sets, and even later quadruple sets. Just trying to push it as far as we possibly could.
Yeah, because you did the San Diego Convention Center, didn't you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that one was another one where it was completely impossible. It wasn't in the range of possibility to ollie that far with the amount of speed that you had. But the more we went there and the more we skated the double set, every time we went there to skate the double set, I would walk up and just look at the top of the triple set and just take it in, And it was like, nope, it's still impossible. And then one of the later times when I went there, I was doing stuff down the double set. And I was a little more comfortable with flying down that thing and doing more like tech tricks down it. Then I started realizing that it was getting closer to the realm of possibility. And then there was just that one day I went up there and looked at it and like, now I know that I can do this. Like I'm at the point, yep, it is possible now. So I had to just find out and try it. So, and I didn't get it the first day I tried it, but the next time I went back, I got it.
Yeah, all you have to do is pop that tail and just close your eyes and say, I gotta land this. There's no bailing out on this thing.
Yeah, because the first day when I tried it, I was trying it on a different one that's out in front,
and
it has a downhill takeoff. So like when you hit your tail, I don't know if you know, like when you ollie, when you're going down a hill, it doesn't pop the same.
Yeah.
Like if you're on flat ground, you get a certain pop. When you're ollieing off a bump, you get a better pop. When you're ollieing off something downhill, it gives you less pop because your board gets less steep, so you can't level it out as high. And the takeoff at the top, like that last maybe 2.5 to 3 feet, is angled downhill a little bit, so it gives you like a negative pop, we used to say. So it was hard to get down it on that, and I gave it 2 solid tries and kicked out both of them because it just didn't give me the right ollie to stay on my feet. And then I thought about it for a while, and when we went back, I checked out all the different ones and found the one in the back that had the flattest takeoff. And it's the same distance, same height, same everything, but it's just a flatter takeoff at the top. And that's the one I was able to do.
Yeah, that's just legendary, man. Like that's insane. That's a lot of respect, because if anybody ever been there or seen it or tried to skate it, that's just craziness.
Well, aside from how far the thing was, it had the least run up. It's just such a short run up, so you have to run. You can't just start and push and get enough speed. You have to run as fast as you can, throw your board down, and then give it I think you had enough time for one solid push, and you had to have enough speed from that to get it. And that was the hardest part, was just getting the speed. That was the biggest challenge of getting down it. Because if you had unlimited runway and you could just push all the way, it'd be a lot easier to clear it and do other stuff down it too.
Yeah.
But that short run up was what made it harder to get it done.
Yeah. And then you came out with shoes too, didn't you? Like with audio, or was that after a different brand or what?
The first chance I had to do and design a shoe and stuff like that was through Plan B. When Mike T was still around, he wanted to do a shoe company through Plan B, but he didn't want to call it Plan B shoes. But have something that was tied to the brand that could be its own shoe brand. And because he knew that's the direction that the market was going. There was going to be bigger things happening in shoes, and that people were going to start getting pro shoe models. He saw it happening with Vans and Etnies, and just he called it like, this is the direction it's going, and we got to get into that too. We got to get a shoe brand going. So he was talking to me about it, and he kind of just let me have the reins. Like, here's a project. We need some ideas, and we need a design. So he let me run and do my thing. So I came up with the name Dukes. I drew up the logo, and I designed the first shoe.
Oh, I remember those.
I even got to design the boxes and the hang tags, and everything that went into that shoe was just from pencil to paper to turning it in and getting it done.
Yeah, I remember those, dude. Yeah.
When I finally got the whole thing done and ready to go, right when the shoes were going through the sample stages, that's when Mike T got in a car accident and passed away.
Yeah.
So at that point, we didn't know what was going to happen with all of that either. Like, it was all kind of up in the air. So I ended up having a meeting with Steve Rocco and showed him everything that we had so far and asked him what he wanted to do with it. And he was down to make it happen and actually make the brand a reality. So we ended up following through and getting the samples in and making the first Duke shoes. And the first model were the J-Dubs.
Yep, I remember those too.
But I didn't want a pro model shoe yet. At that point, I didn't think I had earned it. And there were other people that were well-established pros that didn't have their name on a shoe yet.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was a little early to be throwing my name on a shoe. So I just called it the J-Dubs, and my name wasn't actually on the shoe.
Uh-huh.
I was able to put my name on the hang tag that you remove from the shoe, and then just call it the J-Dub, and that was it. That way I could skate in them and feel good about it.
You just look down like J-Dub, and you're the only one that knows they're your shoes,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. And they were a solid skate shoe. They're still like, if you're able to skate in those today, they would feel perfect. They're still in line with what is good today.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
The fit and feel and thickness of the midsole, and just the way they skated. They were a good, solid skate shoe.
And then how was it like making your own, like designing and building your own or making your own shoes? What was it like?
Just a lot of learning. I was working with some of the guys that were doing the Duff's shoes. So that's where we were doing it out of. So I worked with one of the designers there, and he kind of showed me what the different parts of a shoe were, what they were called, how it worked, what they're made of, what the options were. And then between his knowledge of shoes and my knowledge of skateboarding, that we were able to come together and make the perfect skate shoe. So he was the perfect person to talk to about this stuff, because he knew everything that was possible in making shoes. And I knew everything from skateboarding that a shoe needed to have to make it work properly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a good match.
Definitely. That's sick, dude. And then that's when, did you have another shoe brand? Or did you ride for another shoe before Audio, or was it straight to Audio after that?
Well, Duke's, in the end, ended up being owned by World Industries.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, Steve Rocco had a chance to sell the brand to a Canadian holding company. So he just sold it. He didn't want to keep building it, or, keep making shoes, or even keep the brand alive. He wanted to just get out right where it was at. I think he just got an offer that was worth it for him, and he just let go of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So from then, I was looking to do something else. And around the same time, I guess Jamie Thomas had just left America. And we just talked to each other, like, what about doing something together? And then I think he's the one that linked up with Chris Miller and found out that they were thinking of starting something too. So we were able to all just join forces and make Audio happen. And Jamie Thomas was the one that pulled Steve Barra in as well.
Yeah.
He thought Steve would be a good complement to both of us, so we could be like, a trio to start this brand off. So it was the three of us. Yeah. And we were able to come up with the name Audio, and Jose Gomez came up with the logo for this one. And yeah, we were up and running.
Dude, that's sick. I mean, Audio was such a good brand, and had an amazing team, and you got great videos, Yeah,
Audio was a good group of people. Like they really knew what they were doing. and it was fun working with them. And they were just skateboarders, you know. The only problem with audio was that the skateboarders didn't own the company. It was backed by a larger company that was one of those, you know, large investing companies, a holding company that owned other companies like
Billabong, kind of like whatever.
They like Coleman Camping Supplies and Rawlings baseball gloves and K2 ski and snowboard stuff and all the mountain biking. And turns out there were a bunch of brands, like just these huge brands that were owned by this company. And out of all of them, audio was the smallest brand they had. So they were just the backers and investors of this brand. But yeah, in skateboarding, audio was a big brand compared to other skateboard companies. But in the scheme of that kind of business, we were the smallest brand to them.
Yeah.
And that ended up lost audio because we weren't the ones that owned it or had any control over what happened with the company. And when a larger company than the company that owned K2 and all those guys wanted to buy them out, that's what happened. Two of the biggest companies, I think it was two rival boating companies, they were having a problem like just with the competition, and they wanted to take them out. The way it was explained to me, it was like Coke and Pepsi, and Coke decided to buy out Pepsi, so it'd all be owned by one thing. And that's what happened with the two boating companies.
Yeah.
And turns out we were on the smaller side of that. So when they went through all the brands, they just didn't see the value in keeping it going. So they let it go. They just chopped it up and sold it off.
Yeah, that's just sad to do. I mean, because, you know, I'm going to get off a little bit on the subject of skateboarding, but I mean, just hearing you saying about a corporate company coming in and like, or owning a skate brand, and all of a sudden just say, hey, you know what? They're a small brand. We're not making money off of these guys. We'll just cut them, you know. And then they have, you know, they got to come in and cut like half of all the workers, all the pro riders, everybody that put, you know, blood and sweat to this company to build it. You know, that's just sad, you know.
That's business. That's how it goes. Yeah, it is. It's sad, but yep, you learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always got to watch out who's really holding the cards.
Yeah.
And who's in.
And do you think that that's what's changing skateboarding, or you think it's skateboarding is getting stronger and it's more smarter about it?
I don't even know. I think the corporations have won the battle in this one.
Oh, you do?
Because if you look, you know, the shoe brands that are in skateboarding right now and who's like in control and who has all the power, it's not skater-owned brands right now.
Yeah.
It could, but it's not.
Yeah, it's sad.
Just a bigger, better opportunity comes around and people start taking those deals, and it makes that brand stronger, makes that name stronger. And other people, other skateboarders that just look up to the pros that they know, they'll start following suit. And all of a sudden it's not skaters in charge anymore.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, we need to take back our industry.
Yeah, there will be a time. I think it will come back around because you know, like even in the early 80s to mid 80s, when like the huge brands in skateboarding, there was like the big top 5, they were controlling everything, and they were the biggest skate brands. And at some point, some skateboarders decided that they thought they could do it better on their own. And that's when all the little brands started popping up. And for a while, the little brands were reigning supreme, you know?
Yeah.
They took charge, and they were the ones in control because they could move a lot faster and change things a lot quicker than the big companies.
Yeah.
But big companies realized that something was changing. It was already too late for them to change in time.
Yeah.
They all just kind of got left out, and the little brands came up.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going on right now, you know, with so many skate brands, you know, sport brands, and, you know, I'm starting to see wheel brands coming out, and, you know, and I've slowly seen some shoe brands coming out, but not as much. But I mean, that's what's going on right now, you know?
Yeah, because it takes more organization to get the shoe brands off the ground, because you need larger investment, you know?
Yeah.
Because you invest in those molds, get the shoes made, and it's a lot to get the manufacturing done. But if you know that your designs are going to be solid and people are going to buy them and people are going to want to skate in them, and if you know you can sell them, then you're good.
Yeah, you're golden. You hit the market.
Yeah, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to make sure your designs are on point.
Yeah, definitely. So what are you doing now, man? Like what do you got planned for, what's going on now after, you're not leaving the industry, but you're kind of like doing your own thing now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had all the sponsors and, been a sponsored pro, been where my name's on products for other companies, and, I get the royalty cut and they get the rest. But, yeah, we had an opportunity where me and my brother Jonas could start our own brand and just do our own skate company our way. And I already know how to do all the designs for graphics. I know what's best for boards, and I have a higher quality standard than most of the brands out there. So I want to make sure our boards are the best quality they can be, and not use like the cheaper glue or the cheaper wood. So yeah, I want our boards to be the best, and that'll go a long way in the long run.
Yeah. And what's the name of the company?
We won't make much on each board because we're, putting a lot of money into the quality,
Mm-hmm.
but our boards are going to last longer, and they're going to skate better than, the cheaper wood that you're getting with these other brands. Even the biggest brands are using the worst quality stuff because they get a bigger profit margin at the end.
Yeah.
And if you break it, they know you're going to go buy another one,
Yeah.
So yeah, we want our last, and we want to take care of the people that are, supporting our brand.
And what's the name of your brand?
We have Ray Bros brand. It's me and Jonas. Our last name is Ray. We're the Ray brothers, so we named it Ray Bros.
Dude, that's a tight name, dude. I like that.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister for some because they don't know how to say our last name Ray very well. So,
and where can the viewers get your stuff at? I mean, is there a certain there's a site?
We have raybros.com. It's WRAYBROS.com. And right before the holidays, we sold out of every single deck we had in stock. So right now it's pretty slim on the site. But all the manufacturing is backed up because of COVID. All the wood shops are slammed, so no one's taking orders right now. And so what we can do right now is shift over to T-shirts and hats and sweatshirts and sunglasses and whatever else we can make with a quicker turnaround time. And then we'll get the boards back in there as soon as we can. But we'll be doing some reissues of some of the older graphics that I had through through Plan B, and maybe even some color decks in the near future. So, and we'll try to get through some of Jonas's too. Like Jonas had some cool boards on Black Label and also on Clean skateboards, and maybe even a media one or two that we can throw some reissues for him too, for all of the Jonas Ray fans out there.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, I remember those blockhead boards or not blockhead, but Black Label boards that Jonas had. And there's some badass ones, dude.
Jonas had 6 Black Label boards because John Lucero was doing the graphics for those. So yeah, he always had a good eye for rad graphics.
And I saw you had Pat Chinita on boards, right?
Yeah, Pat Chinita's been riding for Ray Bros since the beginning. It was me and Jonas, Pat Chinita, and Paul Luna. Damn. That's our team of 4 since the beginning. We haven't added anyone else yet. But as we build the brand, we'll expand and we'll get some more people that we can help out.
Oh yeah,
we got to grow first, and then have other people come along for the ride.
Oh yeah, that's sick, dude. Like, how's it feel to have your own brand? Like, you're in control of your own brand the way it is, because you're not dealing with, I don't mean to say his name, but you're not dealing with people like a Rob or other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's good because we get to do it on our own schedule, but it's also like I don't stay on myself as much as I would if someone else was on top of me, like a boss saying you got to get this done by this time, or we got to have this much stuff out by this date. We really do it just whenever we feel like it. We're not following the seasons. We make the boards when we want to. We make as many as we want. When they're sold out, they're gone. Move on to the next thing. And we're not doing like full product drops for the summer season or anything like that. We just make the products as they come. When the designs are done and when the boards are in and when the shirts are done, then it goes up on the site.
Dude, that's sick, dude. That's awesome, man. And you guys came out with a new graphic too, didn't y'all?
Yeah, we have new graphics all the time.
Not new graphic, I mean logo, like a new logo for Ray Bros.
Yeah, we've been shifting around with the logos a bit. I do all the graphics and logo work myself. So sometimes I'll just knock something around until it looks right or feels right. And then we'll, move on to the next thing. So yeah, we always have new logos, and we're trying to just come up with something that we can all proudly get behind,
Yeah.
So, and something that's recognizable that everyone can see and be proud of.
Dude, that's sick, dude. And then, like, where can people like follow you guys, like Ray Bros? Like, you guys have an Instagram or anything on social media that these guys can follow, or what?
Yeah, most of the stuff goes through my own Instagram, which is Jeremy_Ray. So it's JEREMY_WRAY. And yeah, anything new that's happening, I drop through there. But we also have our Ray Bros brand Instagram that I've been building up. And that one's just WRAYBROS on Instagram. So yeah, that's the actual brand page. So you can go there for news. And then Jonas has his own. It's at Jonas Ray. So JONASWORRAY.
All right. So you hear that, viewers? Make sure you go follow them and spread the love, man.
Yeah. No, and we're putting out skate edits. Like, it's usually me, Jonas, and Pat going out now and bringing out our GoPro and filming a couple clips whenever we get out. The last little line we got of Pat yesterday is a good one. It's worth going on and checking out right now.
Is that the one with you guys at the park?
Yeah, we went to Palm Lane Park, and Pat had a cool, fun little line that he got second try. Just threw something out for fun, and he's quick like that. Yeah. He's got fast feet.
Yeah, I shared that on my end. that was a dope ass clip, dude.
Yeah, no, and that's him just playing around. So imagine when we get our stuff together and we want to make a real video. Yeah, Pat is really impressive.
Are you guys going to make a promo video or like a little like a teaser thing or anything?
We've come up from time to time and made little edits, but we never officially released anything because we were building up toward that, doing that during the summer. And then we had another manufacturing hiccup with getting the boards in time. Mm-hmm. So we just got to get everything to line up all together, get the boards, get the videos, get all the product in at once and drop that video.
Hey, and let you know, viewers, they make some bomb ass sunglasses too, man. You got to get those Ray Bro sunglasses.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We were getting known for the sunglasses because we had those as like just a fun giveaway, and Jonas would do all the laser engraving on the sunglasses and personalize them. And they came out rad, and they were just fun to have. And we'd sell them on the site, and if someone ordered a board, sometimes we'd throw a pair in for them just as a freebie gift to say thank you for ordering with us. And yeah, then we start seeing people wearing these glasses all around. We made sure that they got out there. So it's fun to see them out there in the world.
Dude, I think I got like 4 or 5 pairs from Jonas.
Yeah, we keep making different ones. And so the last round had a little shaka after them. So we had like matching sunglasses and keychains with little Ray Bros shaka.
Oh, that's sick, dude. I think the last one I got was the blue and white ones.
Yeah. So those ones, the last round had the Ray Bros shaka and it said skateboarding on the other arm. So it says Ray Bros skateboarding.
Oh yeah, dude. And then you're doing art too. You're doing this whole thing of like a collabo art or something like that. I saw you post something, or you're doing like a whole art show or something.
Well, I've been getting hit up more regularly now for people that just want to have my artwork on their products. So I'll get hit up by like a skate brand that wants me to do just a graphic for them. So I'll just throw my artwork their way, do like a little collab, and yeah, there's been a few things popping up. So I did one with a brand called Verb, and yeah, they just wanted some artwork and wanted it to look like my old stuff that they remember from the early 90s. So I gave them something that they wanted, and it looked good. And then I did one with the guys over at 40 Skateboards. They're over across the pond too in Europe, and we did an art collab with them. So I did the Drip Fish board. That'll be the first production run of those to come out. I think those are still available right now at 40skateboards.com probably.
Oh hell yeah!
But 40's on Instagram too, so you can look them up there. And yeah, I think those ones are still available for even pre-order right now. So take a look for those. Those are fun.
That's sick, dude. And then I see you also too promoting that musician too. So what's going on with that?
The musician? Oh, who sent us
little live stream with that guy? I can't remember his name.
Put up edits all the time, and we usually have to have music behind them. It makes it more fun rather than just the raw sounds of skating.
Yeah.
So a lot of our soundtrack stuff has been done by our buddy Matt Marcus.
Okay.
So he does a lot of just cool hip hop style beats, and yeah, he just mixes up his own stuff, and he'll send us over something from time to time, and we'll put it in the background of the edits. Well, other people started seeing what we were doing. They'll be like, hey, I got this music. You want to try this out? So yeah, just recently, the Sticks champion hit us up and he sent me over a little something that he had made. And I guess it was based off something he saw in the old H Street videos. So he kind of redid his version of that little tune. So that was on the last edit with Pat at Palm Lane.
Yeah, that was a sick edit. That definitely was, and in the music too, you know.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then another guy that Eddie Rap Life turned us on to.
How's he doing, dude?
Good. He went back home to the East Coast, but he'll probably pop over to our side soon enough. I mean, it's probably pretty cold over there.
Yeah, it is cold.
Yeah, we'll see. He stayed with us for a while over that last summer, and he just got to skate all the stuff with us. But I'm trying to think of his buddy's name that was giving us some music too. It was Ionize or something. I can't spell it right, but it was always on my Instagram. If you look back on our edits, yeah, this guy did rad guitar work,
mm-hmm.
and it had so many tracks, and yeah, I think it was Ioni. So yeah, if you look back, you'll find some of his stuff too. But yeah, look out for him. He's been putting out albums and stuff recently as well.
Yeah.
So
all right, I'll check them out, and viewers check them out too. You know, and then one last thing: what do you want to say to the upcoming skaters, artists? You know, someone that wants to start their own brand. Like, do you have anything you want to say to these people?
Yeah, I mean, just stay true to what you're doing, know your worth, and just don't let anyone tell you you're not good enough. You know, just believe in yourself and keep doing what you love, and yeah, just don't quit. You know, yeah, you'll go through some tough times trying to make it work and make it happen. We all do, but if you keep going and you are on the right path, just keep doing it. It'll eventually, hopefully, work out. It usually does. You know.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely, man. And do you have anything planned? I mean, I know it's just a new year, and we just got over I call it the leap year because 2020 was actual a leap year, so that didn't even count.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
anything planned? I know
for us, it's just skateboarding, filming, and getting our products in place. We got to get everything made. So it's for me right now. It's going to be designing mostly. So I'll be in front of the computer doing more graphics and logos, getting the new designs ready for the boards that are upcoming, and then making sure everything's on schedule. Because it's just me and Jonas doing all this stuff on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're handling everything. So it's a lot of work, but in the end, it's what we want to do. So we're going to keep at it.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, I support you guys 100%, whatever you guys do, man, because you guys put out some, let me tell you, viewers, they put out the most, and I rode the rainbow boards, and they're freaking amazing, dude. They have great pop. They're so good, dude. That's all I'm going to say. You have to get them, guys.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've been on the same board for longer than I normally ride a board. The thing has been lasting, and it hasn't sogged out yet. So I'm going to keep riding it till it dies. Yeah, I've been stoked with how long they actually do last.
Yeah, they're definitely good, dude. I 100% back you guys. But Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on, man. And thank you so much for what you have done for skateboarding and doing for skateboarding now. And we wouldn't be here without you,
Right on. Yeah. And look out for those trick-a-days.
Oh, yeah. Those trick-a-days. I love those, man.
Yeah. I'm going to keep rolling. I did it all year. One of the other years, this one, I kind of started in the middle just for fun to bring it back. So I don't know how long I'm going to take it this time, but yeah, every day I put up a trick, usually just a basic, something that people can learn from, something to have fun with, and usually if I know a little bit of history on it, I'll share what I know. So those are fun to look out for.
Oh yeah, dude. I know. I reposted your board slide one you did. I read it and I was like, dude, this is pretty sick. I'm gonna repost this for the kids, to other skaters, young skaters that want to like learn how to board slide or want to know the history of it.
Yep. And Pat Chanita helped me with that one. He was there that day and filmed it for me, because usually the trick-a-day I'm by myself. So I'll just set my phone down and do a trick and edit it from there. So whenever I'm with someone else who can hold the camera and go with me, makes it a little more interesting having that moving shot.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. And hey, I'll be back out west in 5 months, so we'll have to do I'll be ready to go to a Ray party.
No, nice. Yeah, come on through. We'll take care
Oh
of you.
yeah, definitely, brother. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. And I wish you and your family the best of luck and success in this 2021, dude.
Right on. Much appreciated.